Hi guys, it's Katie Thayer from Thayer Treats, and tonight let's decorate some marbled sugar cookies, specifically hearts for Valentine's Day. But I wanted to show you how you can take these same techniques and use it for Easter coming up. I've got some fun colors, and we're going to go over the different types of colors. We're going to talk about powdered colors versus gel colors and figure out which one you guys like. And of course, ending everything with a little bit of edible glitter. So let me spin this around and let's start mixing up our icing. Now, if any of you did the tutorial or watched the tutorials earlier, you're going to have already made your icing. What I have here, and I'm doing it in a blue bowl so it really stands out tonight, is straight from the mixer icing. This is what it's going to look like straight from the mixer. See how it holds its shape? That's detail consistency. We've worked with detail consistency before when we do petals for flowers or leaves or lettering, but for dipping our cookies, we want to bring this down to a thin hybrid. We're not going to do a flood, but we are going to do a thin hybrid. So I'm going to put a pretty good chunk in here because this is our base color. And today I am going to stick with white for the base color because I like white for my base on these ones. And then I'm going to also make some colors for us to drizzle on top. Now, in order for us to bring this from detail consistency down to hybrid, I've got here warm water. It doesn't really matter. You can use cold, but warm water is going to mix into your icing better and give you better results. Too cold, and you're going to find that you have to add a lot more water, and then it will get runny once it comes to room temperature. So I added about a teaspoon and a half. I'm going to just start stirring this, and this is definitely too thick. See that? It is better, but too thick. Let's add another teaspoon or so. I love these little droplets, but you can just use an actual teaspoon. Don't pour your water over it though. I've made that mistake. Don't put it under the sink. You inevitably will put in a little bit too much water, and then you have to add powdered sugar and play with it some. And if you ever do accidentally add too much water, just add some powdered sugar. But you'll find that you have to add like so much, and it becomes a science game then. Getting there. If I was doing a flooded cookie, this is the consistency I would want. But we are doing a dipped cookie. So we want this a little bit thinner than our normal hybrid that we've done in classes. Keep mixing. Almost there. Almost. I'm going to add another like half teaspoon to a teaspoon. Don't want it too thick. It makes it really difficult to dip it if it's too thick. You also don't want too thin because then it will run off the sides of your cookies. You want that happy middle ground. Let me see. This is perfect. Look at how when that drizzles on there, it is going nice and flat. If I pull the spatula through it, it closes in on itself and goes flat. That is perfect. Exactly what we want. I'm going to scrape off this spatula, put that all in there, all of that nice, beautiful icing. And we're going to put this off to the side for a minute while we mix up our colors. And by doing that, we want this to be off to the side for about 2 to 3 minutes, no longer than that. And all the air bubbles will come to the surface and we'll get rid of the air bubbles before we start dipping. So put this off to the side and let's mix up a color. Now, I already have 2 colors pre-mixed that I did in last night's class. I have coral and I have mint blue. And I was thinking today, what do I want? Do I want to do a little bit of yellow? Do I want to do a little bit of purple? And I think we're going to start with yellow. And then if we feel like it, we might make some purple as well, because why not? Then we will have 4 colors to choose from. So let me find yellow. We're going to do yellow in a gel color. And my favorite color of yellow right now is Sunshine. This is a gel color from the Sugar Art. It's a small business based out of Texas. I'm going to give it a little mix ahead of time. You should always do that with any color that you have. And now we're going to do just 1 drop. See that? 1 drop to start. You can always add more color afterwards. You cannot take color away. So always start on the light side and then add more. I'm going to add a little bit of water. This will help not only activate the color, but also start to bring this icing to that nice hybrid consistency. Now, for this one, we can go that thick hybrid that we're used to. And look, see how much that just 1 drop of color changes this? I know it's not quite as brilliant as it would be in person, but these lights, I think, do a pretty good job. See this? That is still detail consistency. See how it holds its shape? Let's add just a little bit more water. Give it another stir. Just like this. And that is probably perfect. See how if I shake it, it goes nice and flat? That is exactly what we want right now. So let's do our favorite bag in a glass trick in order to put our color in without making a mess. So we've got a glass. We've got these 12-inch piping bags from Amazon. I'll post the link to them in the group. And I just like to fold the sides down. And then do it just like that. How amazing is that? Then we will take this out, move this to the side so you guys can see. Pull your bag up. I'm going to push all of the icing down. Wrap, overhand knot this. There we go. Now we have yellow, we have coral, and we have mint blue, which I think looks a little bit like a teal green color. So let's mix up 1 more color because why not? Still have some icing left. So we're going to do the 1 bowl method. That's why I started with the lightest color, which was yellow. Now we're going to make some purple. And we're going to do it in the exact same bowl. So whenever you do the 1 bowl method, always start with your lightest color and work your way up to a darker color. And if you reach a point where the colors will not mesh together anymore, rinse your bowl out and then start again. Let's see. Lilac or violet? I'm going to start with 1 drop of lilac. See what that looks like. And then if I want it to be more purple, we'll add a drop of violet. Shake, shake, shake. And by doing that, you just make sure that all the color is shook up and you're not just getting some water when you first do a drop. Okay, come on out. There we go. One drop. Now let's add some water, activate that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be gorgeous. I bet that's gonna be just great. And I put just the right amount of water in to start. So let's make sure it's not too close to the pink. It's not. I always try to make sure that if I'm trying to do distinct colors, that the colors aren't too close to each other. And sometimes a lilac and a pink can look pretty similar to one another. Let's do our glass again. There we go. Load up our bag. And then this spatula and bowl will go straight into the sink. Throw some water into that for easy cleanup afterwards. Push that icing down. Try not to fill your bag so much that you can't knot it afterwards. You can always use a rubber band or a clip, but those will never be quite as tight as a knot. So make a loop like this and push through. Overhand knot. That always, in my opinion, gives you the best seal on there so it doesn't leak out. Okay, guys, so now let's get started with our cookies. And as you can see, we've got bubbles. Now, this is natural, normal. It's why I always let it sit for a couple minutes because you don't want those bubbles in the icing when you're dipping. So, in order to get rid of them, we're going to use our love spatula. We're going to just gently pull across the top. It might take a couple times dipping to get all the bubbles out, and that's okay. That's pretty normal. I'll show you a trick if you do have a bubble in your icing. That is when we would use a scribe and we would pop the bubble right on the cookie, which actually makes for a pretty cool effect on the cookie because it takes the color that was underneath the bubble and brings it to the surface. Okay, just pop any major bubbles. And let's start making this. So I'm going to move this aside for a second so we don't get this little tip in. Let's show you how much of this tip we're cutting, which is not much at all. Okay, see that? Trying to hold it right over my finger so you can see. We're going to take about that much off. Not much of your bag at all, guys. Remember, you can always cut a hole bigger. You can't cut a hole smaller. And then we're going to do the yellow one. Of course, I moved that out of the way and I still somehow managed to get my little bag tip right on the edge of the bowl there. So let's see here. Do it like that so you guys can see. Don't cut my finger. Just about there. Just like that. All right, let's get to it. So even more air bubbles came to the surface. I'm going to run this over the top again. Just get rid of it. This still seems a little thick to me. We're going to dip one cookie and see what we think. If it's too thick, I'll add some more water. Actually, let me give it just one stir and see. Yeah, you know, that's just a little on the thick side. I'm going to add just a tiny, tiny bit of water to that. Just about half a teaspoon. And I'm going to gently stir it in to hopefully create less air bubbles. And depending on the humidity in your house, you may find that your icing dries like that a little bit fast. Right now, my house is a little bit on the dry side, so hence why my icing started to thicken up and crust over. But now that is better. Okay. Scrape this, put it on top. I'm going to tap it a couple times. Let's do this. So with these bags, I've already got them. I'll show you the little trick to get them to pop back out. Squeeze. And there we go. Now, if you're using leftover icing, you're going to want to massage it just like this to make sure that there's no water pockets in there and that everything's mixed together nicely. So that's one bag. Here's the mint blue. I'm going to pop that up, push the icing down, and mix it up a little. There we go. More air bubbles. Boop. Boop. And now let's dip our first one. So I'm going to start with a little bit of this coral color. I'm going to just make a zigzaggy line here. And we're going to start with a small heart just to see how it goes. I'm going to do a little bit of this green. And I'm feeling like a little bit of yellow with this. So let's do some yellow that direction. Here is my small heart-shaped cookie. I'm going to dip it right in there. Now you notice I'm not pushing it all the way in, just the surface is touching. I'm going to pull up and then shake. You see that little tail there? We want that tail to come off. You can tap, tap, tap. The more tail you have on there, the more you'll get a distinct swirl that almost looks like a wave. You're going to twist it up. Shake, shake, shake. And here's our first cookie, you guys. Now, notice how right here didn't get much icing. Here's what we're going to do. Going to use your scribe because it's such a small little area and just pull it down. Just like that. We'll pull it up there. That's our first cookie. We've got a couple of air bubbles. I'm going to pop them, but they are tiny. They aren't anything to be worried about. Any more? A little there. That looks good. All right, let's do another cookie. This time, I'm going to add some lilac. Definitely going to go in with this coral color. We'll do a little bit of green and a little bit of yellow. You do not have to go opposite directions. You don't have to. I just was doing that to show you pretty distinctly what the colors are. but you can do, I'll show you like a swirl option. I'll show you um, a dotted one. There we go. Look at that. All right, let me pull it up so you guys can see that little tail. I'm gonna tap, tap, tap. You see the tail right here? We want some of that to come off. We don't want all of that tail on there. Just gently shake it. Gently tap it. Go. Sometimes it helps to spin it around. This one's got quite the tail. All right. You ready? And flip. Look at that. Okay, shake, shake, shake. Look at how that one turned out, you guys. Absolutely amazing. I love it. I love the colors. Let's put this to the side, and while there's still icing in here coloring it, I'm going to dip again right here to show you don't have to put color on every single time. You can let the white come to the surface. All right, get rid of that little tail. And I'm going to spin and bring it up. Look at that. Okay, so guys, see here? A little bit of air bubbles. That's okay. What I'm going to do is pop them. And when I pop, see how it actually pulls the purple that was underneath it to the surface just a little bit. Sometimes it will leave the coolest effect. Right. We've got two more small ones. Let's throw some more color in here. I'm loving this purple as kind of the base. Definitely going to go in with some pink. I'm going to do a circle with this pink. Let's do some very distinct stripes with the green. And then I'm going to do some zigzagging with the yellow on both sides. Just like that. Let's see how that turns out. I'm going to go in with the small one again. Push in, but don't push your sides down into the icing. If you do that, it will definitely make very, very dirty fingers. I have done it many, many times. So if you do it, don't worry. You can just wash your hands. But you try not to, because you want the icing to be on top of the cookie, not all down the sides of the cookie. So there's still a little bit of tail there, as you can see. Let's get rid of that tail. And the tail is not coming off very easily because the icing is a little bit on the thick side, but that is okay. Oh my goodness, guys, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Shake it. Pop some bubbles. And you don't have to. If they're little bubbles like that, it's not really going to affect the end result of your cookie. Shake that back just a little bit. But here is another one. One more small one. And then we're off to the medium and the big ones. Get rid of that little tail there. And then spin around to reveal a pretty heart. I'm going to pull this up towards the edging just a little bit. And there, as you can see, there's very little white in this one. It's mostly the colors. So I am going to dip this medium sized one right in here. I'm not going to add any more icing yet. Hopefully you guys can see that tail. See what I'm talking about when I say to get rid of the tail. I'm going to try to get rid of a little bit more before I flip it up. Okay, ready? Flip. Shake, shake, shake. Look at that one. Very distinct looking. This one has some more bubbles on it. And it's because it's just that bigger sized cookie. I'm going to go through, pop any big ones. And sometimes something will look like a bubble and you'll go to try to pop it and it won't pop. It's just because it's like a little pocket of color right there. Look at that. That's really cool. I love when it does that. See how it pulled the green out under the purple? And then let's see any more. There we go. Give it a little shake. I'm going to put this to the side. And then we're going to add more color. This time I'm going to put pink as the base. And I'm going to go in with our lilac. I'm going to add in more yellow this time. I like the bright cheerfulness of the yellow. And then a little bit of this teal green because we're dreaming of spring, right? Another medium-sized heart. I'm going to go right in the middle of this one. Get rid of that little tail there. Spin it up. Ooh. Oh my goodness. I don't even see any bubbles in there that need popping. That is perfection right there. That is what I love about marble dipping, is how every cookie looks just a little bit different. Okay, now the very center here, I'm just going to add a little color over that because we still have some color on the outside edges. So I don't want to overwhelm with color. Okay, now we're going to dip these bigger ones. I find it more difficult to dip a bigger cookie. I don't know if it's because it's more surface area or what, but these ones, if I'm going to drop a cookie, it's going to be these big ones because they tend to suction cup just a little bit more when you dip them. So let's get rid of that tail. Keep shaking. I'm going to do a little tap, tap, tap action. Try to help that tail get out of there. And then flip up. Shake, shake, shake. Guys, look at this. So pretty. Let me see. Any bubbles? Just a little tiny one right there. But otherwise, No. If you ever want to help the swirl go a certain way, just use your scribe, gently pull the icing. I wanted to make that swirl there just a little bit more distinct. Okay, last big cookie. And then we'll do our Easter egg cookie. I'm going to add some more yellow and green. Now, if you don't have any piping bags, you might be wondering how you can do this. It's very simple. Keep your colors in a bowl, drizzle it with a spoon. You won't get these super small, skinny lines, but it will still work for you. Okay. Big one. Right in the center. Definite suction cup feeling. Get rid of the tail. And look at this. Beautiful. I want that to spin around. So I'm going to help that spin around there. And then I'm going to help this spin. Create more of like a wave effect. There we go. Ta-da! We made our hearts. Now let's dip an Easter egg. I'm going to go a little bit heavier on the yellow and purple for my Easter egg. And do just like a couple drops of pink. Just like that. Now we're going to do the exact same way we did it with the hearts. Just dipped right in, pull straight up, and then let's get rid of that little tail on there. Shake, shake, shake it off. I'm going to spin it. Shake it. And guys, here is an Easter egg. A super simple, easy thing to do with the family for decorating cookies for Easter. And after you do these, let them dry overnight. And then take your colors right here and pipe designs over them. You can make like zigzags or hearts or other designs and really have some fun with that. So now let's move this to the side. Let's get to the part of the evening that I know everybody's interested in, the edible diamond dust. Now, this is also from the sugar art. So all of the gel colors, the diamond dust, all of that comes from the same company. Now, I'm just going to shake this up a little and spray. And hopefully you can see the glitter as it comes out, because I certainly can. The air is glittering. Shake some more. I'm going to add just a little bit more to this one. Now, you might notice this one up here is dripping off the side. That is okay. I'm going to let this dry overnight, and tomorrow morning, I will take a microplaner and I will just clean up that edge. It's okay if it drips over a little. Now, if the entire icing was pouring off the side, that means that your icing is too thin. In this case, I just had too much icing on there. I should have tried to get more of the tail off. But let's take a look. This one is my favorite, for sure. All of these look So amazing, you guys, and glittery. So let me spin this around. Guys, this was so much fun. I hope that you learned something about cookies and dipping. If you are part of the Facebook group, I have tutorials on how to make the sugar cookies and how to make this icing on there, along with all the measurements that you're going to need. So hop on that group, show me your cookies when they're done, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful night. Bye, guys.